Joining the conversation now is Iraq War veteran and conservative commentator Jesse Kelly. Jesse, I don't know if you got a chance to listen to this meeting, but I will just give you some highlights. He alluded to being interested in considering universal background checks. He talked about wanting a big, beautiful bill. When someone mentioned something sort of discreet and limited, he said, you know, I like that, but I'd like to attach some more things to that so that we could have a big bill. To the untrained ear, you might think, well, yeah, why not do it all at once? But to limited government conservatives and especially gun owners, that struck a very scary chord. What did you make of it?
It was a disaster. I have no idea what he's doing. I have no idea why he's doing it at all. There is no need to cave to the Democrats on this. Even debating guns means you've already lost the gun debate because the guns had nothing to do with it. This was one psychopath down there. And Congress is the most inept group of losers on the planet. How are they going to determine who is and who isn't mentally ill?
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, that is the argument. It's not a new one. To that point, President Trump said something truly terrifying. He said, look, when it comes to dangerous people, take the guns first and do the due process thing, courts, second. That is not only not an NRA position, that's not a constitutional position. Is it just that he is not well versed in this stuff, or is he trying to play some kind of art of the deal game with Democrats? What do you think?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a guy who grew up in New York City, not around firearms, and doesn't, as good as he is at connecting with middle America voters, he's terrible on this. He also thinks he's going to do some grand deal with Democrats. The Democrats aren't going to agree to anything that he even proposed today unless they can get even more. They're going to want to ban massive magazines. They're going to want to ban AR-15s completely. It's not going to be age 21. And this raising the age to age 21 is ridiculous. We live in a free country because of men age 18 dying with a weapon in their hands. It's a ridiculous proposal.
Well, yeah, and he also said today that he was willing to attach Dianne Feinstein, just wrap your mind around this, attach Dianne Feinstein's assault weapons ban to the Toomey Manchin bill. I don't know a Republican who has said that ever. Well, I guess since Reagan talked about banning guns, but I can't think of any NRA-backed Republican since then who would talk like that. I don't get it. I'm confused.
Well, plus, don't forget, we have the 2018 midterms coming up, and the biggest political loser in America is guns. Every time anyone has ever tried to take on gun owners, there's 100 million of them. They lose. The Democrats were showing their neck to the Republicans for the 2018 midterms, and Trump decides to co-opt their message. As somebody who has loved so much of Trump's presidency, I can't tell you how bad he's been on this. It has been embarrassing. Stay
put. I want to bring in the panel again. Chris, I think you disagree.
I completely and totally disagree. And like I said, this was the exact same freakout that we saw after the DACA open discussion here, where everybody's like, about Trump's given in. He hasn't given anything in. And Jesse's right. Guess what? Congress isn't going to pass anything. The Democrats don't want to make a deal with Trump. And by the way, anybody who's worked for a member of Congress knows that this is how the sausage gets made. And guess what? Stuff gets said in meetings where staffers say to their boss later, hey, boss, I don't know if you know this. That's not actually your position on this.
Yeah, but usually stuff like forget the Constitution doesn't get said.
Look, in an hour-long
on television.
Like, guess what? We can pick and choose. Like, Trump said something.
Yeah,
I would like the President of the United States to be able to go an hour without saying something blatantly unconstitutional.
Yeah,
I don't think that's too high of a bar for the President of the United States.
Let me ask you this. Is there any chance that the NRA sanctions some of this? I mean, any chance there was sort of like an agreement?
Some of it, yes. I firmly believe that they're raising the age for semi-automatic rifles to 21. I know that's not the NRA's position. I believe that they've given him cover on that. Like, he can push for that, and it's sort of like, all right, we'll let you have that one. It makes you look tough. It makes you look like you're standing up to us.
You don't know that.
I don't know it.
Yeah,
no,
you imagine that they might have.
But some of this other stuff, if you call yourself a gun rights group and you support a guy who says, I like taking the guns early, take the guns first, go through due process second, you are not a gun rights group anymore.
Yeah, that's the whole deal, right?
Yeah, that's game over.
So, Dave, part of me thinks Trump, this is not novel, Trump really wants to be liked. And while he wanted to be liked by the NRA for a long time, I think right now he wants to be liked where there's a lot of emotion, and a lot of emotion is around gun control and doing something. And he thinks, like he said to Chris Murphy, you didn't have the right president to get this done. Now you do.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what's going on here? That maybe in a good way, he's not very political, and so he just wants to do the thing where there's sort of the most love coming back at him?
Yeah, well, I think that is Trump's greatest strength and his greatest weakness.
Right.
Is that he always plays to the room that he's in, and he always
And
tries
beholden
to
to
win.
no
And-
one.
right. You know, but the difference, and this is where I disagree with Chris, and I lean more toward what Jesse was saying, is that the difference between the DACA debate is that, number one, DACA was, deporting these kids was not popular with the American people, and there's no reframing of that debate. We're either letting them stay or we're not. The gun debate, this is a winner for Donald Trump, and the Democrats really did expose themselves here. This could have been a huge issue, and he is reframing this debate in a way that gun control measures will cut down on these mass shootings, which is false. You're really giving into a narrative that you shouldn't be giving into.
Jesse, let me just ask you before we go, to Chris's point, nothing happened today other than a lot of nonsense was spewed. Do you think that there are some consequences that come out of this meeting that Trump is going to have to deal with now, some blowback?
Absolutely, because he's emboldening the Democrats to continue to talk about an issue that was, as of yesterday, just a loser for them. But now it's a loser for him, too. You already see it all over social media. This is the kind of thing that fractures the party. Is any tangible bill going to come out of this? No, of course not. The Democrats are complete psychopaths. They're not going to agree to anything the Republicans want in Congress. But Trump himself is continuing a debate that should have died a long time ago.
Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
I like your perspective, as always.